Hi, and welcome to This Week in East Brunswick, the Township's news and information program. Today we visit Tower Center 2. We'll watch as a large piece of art is installed in the lobby and meet its creator. Then, art goes public at the library with sculptor Edmund Spiro. Also at the library, a bookmark bonanza from the children's department and a puppet show, Hanzel and Gretel, in the meeting rooms. Our regular features will include planting a rhododendron with Pegi Howells, a constitutional comment from Erica Heitner, consumer information from Adrian Eisner, why Rachel Rosner, Brooke, Gillar, and Bryan Douglas love their library cards, plus our Township Council review. First, our schedule for next week. Monday morning at 10, it's exercise and aerobics with Lenore Kulik on Look Great, Feel Great. Tuesday at 7 p.m., Eye on the Library highlights the circulation department, followed at 7:30 by Sports Talk with John Magliero and Associate Director of Rutgers Athletics, Bud Heilman. At 8, Mayor Fox looks at current conditions at the Edgeboro landfill. Wednesday afternoon at 3, it's Stories from the Library. Then at 7:30 for Art's Sake with Dolly Vasta, interviewing Bill Mooney. Followed at 8 by The Arts from the Middlesex County Cultural and Heritage Commission. We'll return next Thursday at 7 and 8 with an all-new This Week in East Brunswick. Now let's join Dolly Vasta at Tower Center 2 with artist Frances Hines.
Hi, I'm Dolly Vasta, and I'm standing on the second balcony in Tower Center 2, overlooking a gorgeous piece of work. And standing right next to me is the sculptor, designer, artist, engineer, Frances Hines. Frances, let's talk a little bit about this very unusual piece. First of all, what is it made out of?
Well, primarily it is made from parachute nylon, government spec for strength. It's specially coated to resist soil, and it has a fire retardant solution on it. Also, it has a solution to prevent the penetration of ultraviolet rays. So it is a very specially coated fabric for strength and durability.
All right. How long did this project take from the original concept right up to today?
A year, a good year. I began by looking at the space, talking with Ray Landis, who represented the client, and then I began making drawings. I presented preliminary drawings to the client, and after we had discussed that, I began to design fixtures, because this fabric has to hang from, be stretched from very special steel fixtures, because there's a tremendous amount of stress. There is 3,200 pounds coming from one corner. It is an art form, actually, that is dependent both physically and psychologically on tension as a motivating force.
Where did this design originate, Frances?
Well, actually, it is called site-specific work, so that the design itself was made especially for this particular piece of architecture. But the process of stretching cloth began in my studio about 10 years ago, and I stretched it over various armatures within the studio, making smaller pieces of sculpture. Then I did temporary things in New York. I stretched fabric over buildings, through windows and down over fire escapes, creating a particular design. Those pieces were up for a period of about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and then they would be taken down. Mm-hmm. They were usually in neighborhoods where you can find derelict buildings.
Well, you said before that when you started working on this, number one, it was a collaboration, and number two, it was a very unusual space to work within.
Well, this is a particularly unusual space because, in regard to atriums, because it has a great deal of length and breadth as
Mm-hmm.
well as height. It is 50 feet high, and the piece itself is almost 100 feet long. So it gives me a chance to move in both directions, both vertically and horizontally, so that I can get different intersections of stresses that will create a lot of tension within the work.
Why orange?
That's a good question, especially since we began with blue. The color is very, very important. The color must be vital. The color must be energetic. So you have to stay within the realm of energetic colors, but this color can be energetic, so can blue. We went through a myriad of colors to get the thing that was right according to the materials that were being used in the building, according to the tastes of the client, and according to what I needed for the energy of the art. And this is what we arrived at. And I suppose you might call it a sort of red rust. It's an off red. And I think it works very well.
To hear the rest of this interview and meet other artists who have worked on Tower Center, tune into For Art's Sake in June.
Why I love my library card. I love my library card because I can get books that I need. I love my library card because I can get books that I like to read. I love my library card because I can get a good book that my mom can read so she can cook. I like to get books that are hard. I'm amazed with what I can do with just one library card.
Sculptor and East Brunswick resident Edmund Spiro has been artist in residence in the library several times. Once again this past weekend, in cooperation with the Artist League of Central New Jersey, Mr. Spiro set up shop in the library, displayed his work, and answered questions for patrons.
What I have here is one of the abstract pieces of laminated wood of mixed construction and mahogany and also maple. Actually, you can see the head of one acrobat lying down and holding up the other acrobat's head, although it's very stylized and very contemporary. The other piece that I am evolving here is also of laminated woods, hardwoods. This is the medium that I customarily work with, is hardwood, and it's a slow process. It's also mahogany and maple. And two figures are emerging from this block of wood, which are dancing. But they are dancing with a certain tender, emotional embrace. If you follow the lines here of the hands and the arms, you will see that there is a certain spiritual togetherness. I am finishing the figures, hopefully, this afternoon. I am also working with found objects. These are probably very identifiable since the children identify them. This is, of course, from a fountain which originally gave me the idea of the swan. I utilized hubcaps from a car. I utilized half of a bicycle wheel.
Thanks.
I also utilized a bicycle handle and this old spring. The next one is my latest experiment with wood and lucite. The wood is also a piece of kiwi wood, and it's laminated in sections. The bark that I put on here is glued on. It is not the natural bark. I glued it on for design as well as for the texture of the scale. Now, I incorporated the lucite into the eye. The eye is of 3 pieces, and one is a colored piece of lucite. It is basically for light in the eye. This piece of lucite is heated and bent. I think I can turn this around and you will see the other side, which shows the curvatures and also the light hitting the lines of the cutout. The texture I continued purposefully to combine the natural bark in here with this. And this is like a window of lucite. And of course, I use the base and the support in lucite. The process of creation and creating any sculpture is the most satisfying part for a sculptor. Within the process, the excitement of the figures emerging as you work and successfully expressing the idea is probably something that you don't sell, you don't give away, you can hardly show, but you keep inside of you forever.
Hello, my name is Erica Heitner and I am a 9th grader at Churchill Junior High School. I will be bringing you this week's comment on the Constitution. My topic is the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights. In a single statement of under 50 words, the American people are guaranteed many freedoms. The first privilege is the freedom of religion. This means two specific things. Firstly, government cannot support a state religion like England had once supported the Anglican Church. Also, school prayers are considered unconstitutional because they imply that government supports that prayer or religion. Congress can't pass any law interfering with religion. This way, Americans have total freedom of religion. The next part of this amendment is freedom of speech in the press. This means simply an American can say whatever she or he pleases, even if no one agrees with it. Freedom of the press is complete except for one limitation. A publisher might seek court action if he publishes a distortion of the truth that might damage someone's reputation. If the information was true, however, the publisher will be backed by the First Amendment. The next right of assembly and organization assures people's ability to meet and organize. People must unite in order to try for changes in the government. Also, a person is free to join the organization of his choice. The final freedom is of petition. A petition is a paper stating a specific opinion on an issue, and it must be signed by many people. It gets sent to the appropriate government official. His obligation is to read it, although he does not have to take action for the people. In this way, ordinary people can let the government know their views. Although there are limitations, the First Amendment basically gives freedom to Americans. Thank you.
Why I Love My Library Card by Brooke Gillar. I love my library card because I can take out a book anytime. When you use your library card, it's like an airplane. The contents of the book takes you to many exciting places. I take very good care of my library card. A book can be educational and fun to read. All children should have a library card. A library card. Helpful, useful, fun. It helps me get my schoolwork done. So if you have one, go check a book out and see what you can find out. If you don't have one, that's okay. Go get one right away.
A puppet show presentation of Hanzel and Gretel and a bookmark bonanza were two of the interesting programs recently presented at the library by the Children's Department. First, here's Children's Librarian Sherry Ginsberg to explain the bookmark bonanza.
In recognition of National Library Week, we arranged for a program for first grade and up for children to create their own bookmarks. They're going to create their own this afternoon and then give us the one that they choose, and we'll laminate them and give it to the public.
Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is draw a cat, okay? So then when you do your bookmarks, maybe some of you will want to draw some of these things from here. Okay? Does everybody have a marker? Everybody, you can take whatever color you'd like, okay? Then after I do a cat, I'll ask for somebody to come up and do a mouse. Everybody's got the body, and we'll do two paws. Okay, can I have a volunteer? I want somebody to do a mouse.
Another children's department program was Hanzel and Gretel, performed by puppet projects to several hundred onlookers in the library meeting rooms. Here's an excerpt.
It isn't my fault. Hanzel and Gretel said, but she did.
Enough! So this is what you do when my back is turned.
Why I love my library card. Catch the card, the library card. Whenever I go to the library, I feel like I'm walking into a gigantic storybook and I'm the main character. Now and then, I have an urge to read fiction books. Anytime I take out a book, I feel like I'm entering a new world. I would like to leave my brother in the movie room and I slip into the aisle where I can pick out books that I really enjoy. Then I would sit down and do research. Without a library card, I wouldn't have enough important things to do.
Hi, this is Peggy Ballister-Howells, your Middlesex County agricultural agent in the alleyway. The alleyway is a very dark place, so anything that's planted here has to be particularly tolerant of shade. Now is also the time of year for planting trees and shrubs. Late March and the month of April is really the best time. Second best time would be early fall, but you can't beat the spring for planting. So that combination means that we have to choose something that would be very acceptable in this environment and plant it right away. I've selected a rhododendron, one that has dark red flowers. Not the easiest rhododendron to grow, but one of the more spectacular ones. Now on the ground here, we have it covered with a wood chip mulch. Now wood chip mulch is a wonderful mulch for a lot of reasons, but you don't want to dig it in. So before we plant, you want to make sure that the wood chips are all moved out of the way. That's because wood mixed in with the soil will begin to sap the nitrogen out of the soil in order to help it break down. That's because wood has a very high carbon to nitrogen ratio. So you want to move it out, and you want to dig a very large hole. There's a saying that you want to dig a $5 hole for a 50-cent plant, and that means you want to dig the hole much larger than you think you're going to need it. And that's because it allows the plant room for the roots to grow and expand into that nice loose soil. We're also going to mix in some of this, which may not be very pleasant to some people, but it's horse manure, and it's a very good source of organic matter. So we're going to mix it in, dig a hole, and then plant that rhododendron right in this spot. Okay, get most of that soil out. Want to mix in a little more of this manure. You want it evenly distributed throughout so that you don't get pockets of clay. We'll put some of the soil back in so that the roots have a place to grow down into. And now we need the plant. Okay. That's a little low. You don't want to plant it too low. That'll cause a certain amount of rotting. If it's too low, it could even girdle the trunk. And of course we want to show the best side, which I think that'll do. And then you put the soil back. You can see how much bigger this hole is than the size of the plant. You want to pack it down, but you don't want to pack it down too hard. And of course, you want to make sure that you water it in. Anytime you plant anything, it should be watered in, and it's best not to keep it out of the ground too long. Okay. I think we need a little more soil in the back there. That should do. Put some fresh wood chips around, keep the weeds down, of course make it look pretty. And don't fertilize it till it's established and been in the ground for at least a year. So the best time to fertilize it would be this time next spring. Give it a good drink. Make sure you put down enough water so that the entire root ball is going to get wet. And with any luck, in a couple weeks we're going to have flowers. We'll see you next week in my backyard.
Hello, and welcome to Consumer Aware. I'm Adrienne Eisner, Director of the East Brunswick Consumer Affairs Office. The week of April 24th through the 30th has been proclaimed National Consumers Week. This year, the theme is Consumers Buy Service. Whether the transaction involves goods, services, or both, quality of customer service is a crucial ingredient in the interaction between customer and business, before, during, and after the sale. The East Brunswick Consumer Affairs Office functions to serve the residents of our community through mediation of consumer complaints, enforcement of consumer protection statutes, and education as to the rights and responsibilities in the marketplace. Also, if you are unsure as to which governmental agency to contact for a particular problem, we will make the appropriate referral. For inquiries, complaints, and/or information, call us at the East Brunswick Consumer Affairs Office. Remember, investigate before you invest. Our office is located in the municipal building. Our hours are from 9 until 5, Monday through Friday. The telephone number is 390-6954. Thank you for joining me on Consumer Aware. See you again next time.
East Brunswick may soon have a latchkey program if all goes as planned. Council members support a latchkey study committee report presented at Monday night's council agenda session by Sandra Landman, resident and committee member. The report outlines the need for a school-age child care program and supplies a plan necessary to implement it. A survey conducted in late January provided the committee with enough evidence to support a latchkey type of service within the community. The survey was administered through the schools and received an excellent response rate of 40.1% from township families. Of the respondents, 56% expressed an interest in a latchkey program for their children. Several residents were also on hand to lend their support for the program.
I moved here last year from Virginia, Fairfax County, Virginia, where we had a school-age child care program, and it was just wonderful. I mean, I had my kids in there from kindergarten through when we left, which was up 4th, 5th grade. I had 2 children in it. Just a lifesaver.
The report makes 2 recommendations, sets criteria, and suggests council action. The first recommendation maintains that due to their successful track record in providing services to the township, the Division of Recreation, Parks, and Community Services should be appointed to run the program, and 2, that a latchkey curriculum be present in the schools in order to provide students with the skills necessary to stay home alone. 14 minimum criteria were also outlined in the report, one of which requires that the program be self-supporting with no tax dollars needed for operation, a concern expressed by Councilman Louis Becker. Although the program has verbal approval by the Township Board of Education and the PTA, the committee plans to seek formal approval. At next week's action meeting, the Council plans to adopt a resolution establishing a 7-member advisory committee made up of PTA members, parents, and individuals from other community organizations. If the plan stays on track, parents can hope to see the program in place as early as September of '88. Another agenda item of interest was the establishment of May 31st as the date for the township's cable franchise hearing. That's all for this week. Thanks for watching.